In the last episode of Nutrition Grad Guide, I spoke all about quitting what was once my dream job at 28 by Sam Wood. So I thought it was only fitting to talk about my career update and what I've been doing since leaving that role at 28 and how I've built my own business, Project Nourish. And obviously I'm bringing back a Nutrition Grad Guide as well. And I love being able to have the time and space to bring that back in. So I thought it would be cool to see a behind the scenes of my other business and how I have created the space to be able to be back in your ears here through Nutrition Grad Guide and sharing all of the beautiful career insights, career tips, and interviewing experts in the field. So let's go back and give a little bit of context around my business, Project Nourish, and how it started and the evolution to get to where I am today. I will also just apologize for if you can hear the music in the background. There is someone in the apartment above me listening to very loud tunes and singing in the shower. So I'm hoping it doesn't catch on the microphone, but if you do hear anything, that's what it is. So when it comes to my business and starting out my own business, my business has been going for quite some time now. I started it back when I was still studying, I believe. I started up an Instagram page, or I had an Instagram page running the whole time I was studying, and I was sharing different things like healthy recipes, different blogs. I had my own healthy recipe website, healthy blog. Like I was very into blogging back in the days. And I've since lost that website that I originally had. I used a WordPress plugin that I messed with some things and it disappeared into the ethers, and I completely started my website anew, probably like 6 or so years ago. So a lot of that is gone, but there's lots of new awesome recipes and blog posts and things on my more recent website, many of which need even more updating. There's so much more I could add to it because there's so much I have created over my years as a nutritionist and over my years as a content creator and recipe developer. And that is always continuing to evolve as well. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, a bit about how the direction of my business has changed. But the way that it did start was as a recipe blog and just sharing lots of different healthy recipes, healthy tips, and supporting people in living a more nourished life. And that is where the name Project Nourish came from. And it started just as my Instagram handle, and then it went to become my blog name and now my business name, because it was all about helping people nourish themselves. And I did this through the ingredients for a nourished life, which is what I've created as like a bit of a framework for all of the important things that we need to support our health. So not just the food. Food's obviously a huge one. As a nutritionist, I'm so passionate about food and recommending foods that are going to support us and nourish us, but it's also things like our sleep, our exercise, our stress levels, hydration, and even our environment and different things in our environment. So whether it's reducing our toxin load or having really loving relationships and connections around us that are supporting us and supporting our health, spending time in nature, having a fulfilling purpose, really continuing to grow and evolve and do that personal development side of things too. That's my business, kind of encompasses all of that. And that's how it began. And that's also how it continues to evolve. And the more I evolve, the more I go deeper into more of that mindset and embodiment side and emotional health side of things. But even from the days when it started just as an Instagram page and just as a blog, before I even monetized it or started selling anything or offering any services, that's where it started. So it's cool even now just reflecting on that, seeing that I've kept that kind of like holistic approach my whole way through. And that's what got me into health as well. When I started to learn about food, it led me down that rabbit hole around all of the other things that also really influence our health and can impact our health and support us on this journey. So it started, like I said, as an Instagram page, as a blog. I uploaded recipes. I would just post about anything I was doing to support my own health and share that knowledge with other people. And scrolling back to the start of my Instagram, it's actually quite funny looking at the difference in the photos and just even my own confidence. And it was always photos of food or of other things. I was rarely in a photo Yeah, and even just the quality of the food photos has changed so much. And obviously, I did a lot of practice and was doing lots of food photography at different stages of my career. So it makes sense that it's improved so much, but it's really cool to go back and look and just see how far I have come as well as like a self-reflection piece. And I always encourage that. Like, so often we feel like we don't want to get online until our content looks a certain way or until it reaches a certain standard. But the only way we can get it to that is by first starting. Like sometimes we just have to suck at the start, and that's how we get good. We get good by sucking and continuing to persist rather than being like, no, I have to be good or I have to be great when I'm starting. It doesn't work that way. And it kind of can be something that stops us from putting our work out there and putting ourselves out there, when ultimately we can still help people wherever we are in our journey, whatever the quality of the photos is like, wherever our confidence levels are, and whether we are just sharing things that are like external to us, or whether we're also sharing our face and letting people see us and get to know us and teach through speaking and videos and podcasts and all that kind of stuff. Wherever we are on that journey is perfect. And just starting where we are is really going to benefit us in getting to where we want to be, because we can't just hop straight to where we want to be. We need to do the groundwork and build that foundation to get there. So yeah, I hope anyone who is listening to this or watching this and thinking, oh, I really just love to be putting my stuff out there and be at this point in my career. It's like, remember, we have to build to that, and we can only build by first starting. And I know back when I started my page, I would constantly be overthinking, or like, oh no, I can't share this photo. It's not good enough, or it needs to be this particular way, or just making everything harder than it had to be. And it actually can be easy. It gets to be easy if we allow it to, if we allow ourselves to just be like, look, this may not be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect anyway. So I'm just going to put it out there and I'm just going to roll with it, and knowing that what we do is good enough wherever we are. So that's a little tangent and insight into some of the thought patterns and some of the things that I had to overcome when putting my work out there. And this sort of stuff can still come up all throughout your career journey. There's still times where I'm like, oh no, I'll take a better photo, or I'll do something else, or that one doesn't look as good aesthetically on my feed. But then I just kind of catch myself and I'm like, you know what, this could help someone, so I'm going to put it out there. Because often otherwise we'll just end up procrastinating, or we get stuck in that perfectionism, and it never ends up happening. And we're not helping people when we're not putting things out there. And I don't know about all of you listening or watching, but I very much am in this to help people. And in order to do that, we have to be putting our work out there for people to receive. So that's how it all began. And then I think the first thing that I monetized, it was either my smoothie ebook or my gut program. So the gut program has since been retired. I actually created a whole new program, which I'm going to speak about, which also encapsulates the gut health. But I'm going to start by talking about the smoothie ebook. So I've done a whole podcast episode quite a while ago now about the behind the scenes process of creating an online recipe book, which for me was a smoothie ebook, but I also have created other ebooks and recipe ebooks for whether it's for collaborations or for different roles I've been in or different things I've done. Even my gut program, that also had elements of those recipe ebooks too. So that was the first thing I monetized, my smoothie recipe ebook, and put that out into the world. It's anyone who has created a recipe ebook knows how much time, love, and care goes into something like that. It is a big project, but it felt so cool to have something that I could release and just sat on my website. And when people stumbled across it, getting those sales come through, and knowing that I didn't have to be trading my time for money, it was really cool to actually have my own thing out there that was bringing in more of that passive income. Obviously, you still have to market things, whether you set up some sort of like evergreen marketing campaign that's marketing it for you, or whether you're using social media and you just have to remember to post it every so often. You still have to let people know that it's there, but there are also times where people are just like looking at your other content and then they go on your website and they stumble across that and they purchase it from there. So it's really cool having those kinds of things that can just be sitting there making you money, and they're the sort of things that you can give that kind of marketing push if you do want to like bring in a little bit more money. Keeping in mind that something like a recipe ebook is quite a low ticket item. I think mine sits around the $25 mark. I actually don't even remember anymore. So it's a lower ticket item. So it's not going to be the thing that's making bank or helping you get out of your dream job, unless you have, or get out of your career or job. Sorry, I'm speaking dream job because I'm still in the frame of the last episode I recorded. But yeah, knowing that those lower ticket items can be nice for supplementary income, but they shouldn't necessarily be relied on unless you have a really huge engaged audience. So if you have like tens of thousands of people who will potentially be buying from you and buying those smaller ticket items, then it absolutely works. But because it's a one-off purchase and it is a lower ticket item, you do want to make sure you've diversified what you have on your website. So this is where I then went on to develop my gut program, which still was quite a low ticket item. I had it up for sale around the 150 mark, so very, very affordable. It was a 3-week program. It had a meal plan and daily educational emails, and it was an awesome program. I loved that program, and it was so cool, again, to put that together and to write all the content and to create all those recipes and take all the photos and then put it out to the world and hear the response and the feedback and have people messaging me, thanking me, saying that they've really noticed a difference with their gut health. And yeah, Nourished Gut was a really cool program. I really loved that one. And it was on my website for quite a few years. And then I just recently took it down because I released a newer program, which will I'll dive more into, but it's called The Real Food Way. And it's essentially just the way to nourish our body with real food. Majority of the time, it's a very healthy, balanced approach to food. And it's an educational program that talks all about the foundations of everything we need to know to be able to nourish our body and to be able to use that real food and nutrition approach. So it's not a meal plan, it's not a diet, it's nothing like that. It's literally an education program. And I pretty much took my biggest learnings and biggest teachings and the things I find I'm teaching people the most, and I put it all in one program. So it's actually quite a steal when you think about it. Like, I have done my nutrition degree. I've worked in the industry for many, many years. I've gone on to do lots of other self-research and self-study into behavior change and habits. And I've combined that with the real food nutrition knowledge. And I essentially put that all in the one place where people can learn what to eat and how to actually create those healthy eating habits. And it's a daily training for 21 days. So it's a 3-week program again. And yeah, it just tells them everything they need to know to fuel their body. So again, creating that, I did that a little bit differently to the way I did Nourished Gut years ago. So when I did Nourished Gut, I created the entire program and then I sold it. Whereas with the Real Food Way, I actually did a pre-sale, and a couple of months before I was due to launch it or due to run it live, I launched it and started selling it to get some of those sales coming through to see if there was interest, to see if it was even something worth creating. And then I created it from there. So there's many different ways we can release our products, or many different types of things we can offer, whether it's services or products. And this is one of the things I'm hoping you gain from this episode, is kind of an insight into different ways to monetize your business, different offerings that we can provide to people, and how we don't have to box ourselves in and think, oh, okay, I'm a nutritionist, I'll be a clinical nutritionist. Or for those that are naturopaths or other natural health professionals, you don't have to just do the clinical element of it. You absolutely can. And the clinical can be your majority of your business and your big thing that you do. Or you can go down the program route, which is more of the route that I've gone down, especially because a lot of the time while I was running my business, I was also working full time. So for the first few years of my business, I was working full time at 28, and you can hear all about that if you haven't already listened to the previous episode. But that one was obviously it's a big commitment, working full time and then building a business on the side. I didn't have all the time for the one-on-ones, and I didn't have the best availability. I also had to take care of my own health and make sure I was prioritizing my needs and my life and my social life and relationships and all of that kind of stuff. So I found for me, the programs or those kind of more evergreen offers that didn't need to trade time for money were beneficial for me. And on this note, I also want to talk about, when it comes to online business, these days it's kind of been glorified where it's quit the 9 to 5 and just go into business and you'll be fine, you'll take off. And yes, that can be the case for some people, but I also want to talk about the importance of knowing what's right for you and the importance of building your business. These days in the internet era, it's so easy to make money online, but we've also become a little bit entitled where we're like, cool, I'll just quit my job and put this thing out and that will be the thing that makes me millions of dollars. And we just expect it because we see all these people online who are making bank and have these big thriving businesses, forgetting that they've actually had to build to get to that point. They've had to show up consistently, build that audience, build those relationships, help people, have that impact, get really good reviews, testimonials, get great word of mouth, and it's built from there. It hasn't been an overnight thing. We often see these people turn up on the scene and they look like an overnight success, but you can ask any overnight success how they got there, and they will tell you they are not an overnight success. It's been years and years and years of building. So even though some of us can thrive by quitting our job and going all in on our business and using all of our time to monetize that and to really sustain that, it can also be really beneficial for many of us to wait and build up our business as we're working, whether it's a full-time job or a part-time job or a casual job or doing some like different freelance work. That can actually be really beneficial. And this all comes down to personality type. It comes down to patterning and conditioning and how you're going to feel safest. Because if we feel super unsafe with the uncertainty of business and not having the consistency of a salary, that could throw us into our survival mode, where it's a lot harder to get stuff done when we're constantly stressed about money in the back of our mind. So finding what works for you. For me, it worked great building up to running my business full time. If I had gone straight into that without some sort of foundation or without some sort of experience or without some knowledge of how to monetize my business, I would have absolutely freaked out, because I love that consistency. I love that safety. I love that security. I'm human. It's normal to love those things, right? So just for anyone who's listening and thinking, oh, I should be doing my business full time, or why aren't I there yet? It will happen. Keep going. And just remember, you have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And not all of us are going to thrive by just taking that leap and not having that net to catch us and not having that financial security. So don't feel bad if you ever see people boasting about like, oh, you've just got to quit and then it'll all work for you. Or, oh, what are you doing still working that job you hate? Like, you should be doing what you love. Yeah, we want to work towards doing what we love. Absolutely. But how can we also find gratitude for what we are currently doing? How can we find gratitude for that financial security and stability? And then how can we use that gratitude and that foundation and that safety to really support us and have that as a launch pad to go into the thing that we really desire and that we really love? So really take that pressure off yourself if you're one of those people that has been like seeing all those things and thinking, oh, I should be able to just be making it in business and not need to have supplemental income from another employee or freelance clients or a job that you're working. It's totally okay wherever you are in the journey, and know that if you just keep going, you will get to that point where you will be able to sustain yourself in your business. And one of the beauties of the internet age is we can make money in so many different ways. And a lot of the time, it's just about focusing in on one or two things and building that, rather than trying to spread ourselves too thin and be like, oh, cool, I can monetize in so many ways. Let's do all these different things. And then we're not necessarily doing everything properly. So building one thing at a time, systemizing that, and then going on to the next thing, and not getting too caught up with all the shiny objects, which can be really hard to do because there's so many fun, amazing things we get to do when in online business. But yeah, for anyone that is in the case where you do want to go into your own business, just know that focus is a huge part of it, and just that consistency and that belief in yourself and knowing that you're going to get to where you want to be, and not feeling bad about it if you need other supplemental income. I still have freelance clients that I work with and support as I continue to build my business. So that was when I first monetized it, and I've gone on another tangent. I do love these tangents. I feel like they're important, which is why I allow them to come through. So I monetized Nutrition Grad, had that up on my website for a few years. Similar sort of thing. It was that evergreen product that if someone bought it, they got it. I didn't have to trade time for money. So it was really good in that aspect because I was working at the time. So I didn't have a whole heap of time to be doing lots of one-on-one consults or anything like that. Group programs or evergreen programs like that one in particular really supported me in being able to make that impact and get some of that income in as well, while still working in my job. So that was that one. And then I think from there, I introduced a 12-week group program. So my first 12-week group program was called Habitually Healthy, and it was all about what to do for health and how to do it. So it was combining the health knowledge with the behavioral change side of things, with a lot of the mindset work, with the habit creation work. And we went through the 5 core healthy habits, what I consider to be the 5 core healthy habits, which are eating nourishing food or real food, moving your body every day, being adequately hydrated, getting enough sleep, restful sleep, and decreasing our stress levels. So I call that one self-care. And that's essentially about just helping to regulate our nervous system so that we're not constantly in that fight or flight, because we all know that when we are less stressed and we're not like having cortisol pumping through our body constantly or in one of those survival patterns, we can be so much healthier because everything can work better internally. So that was habitually healthy, teaching those 5 core healthy habits. And then there were a few different things on either side. Lots of, like I said, that behavioral change kind of things and the mindset kind of things and that support. So every week for habitually healthy, there were 2 group calls. There was a Monday night training, which was just all the content for that week. And then they got a workbook where they went away and they were able to do their exercises and activities and whatever they had to do or whatever we were focusing on that week. And then we had our Thursday night group coaching call. So that was just where they could ask questions. We could talk about the homework I'd given them and see how they were going with things. We could move through any of those mindset blocks that may have come up or work through some of the beliefs or limiting beliefs they were holding, and just really support them with anything that was coming up. So this was kind of my first taste into the group coaching space. And I really loved it. I had so much fun running my first round of Habitually Healthy. I think it was about 10-ish people in. I can't remember the exact numbers now. It was quite a while ago now. But yeah, it was such a fun group. And I then went on to run that program again a second time with a different group of people. And I loved the element of the group coaching and being able to support people in the group environment, because again, I needed to optimize my time while I was working full time. So the group program really worked well for me. And it was also really fun because you're bringing together a great group of people and they're able to network and make friends, and they've got that support network, not just you, which is amazing. And like just us, we can help them so much as well. But it's really cool when they're also doing it alongside other people. So I really loved that group element of it. And again, when it comes to offering group programs, it's one of those things that we need to build over time. It's not like we're just going to be able to release a group program and get hundreds of people into it. And it's also like we don't need hundreds of people in it necessarily, especially depending where we are in our experience and in our confidence levels and all of that kind of stuff. It's really good to build. And I also am a big believer in showing up for one person in the same way I would show up for 100 people. So if I do a group program and I have 3 people sign up, I'm going to show up for those 3 people in the same way I would for 30 people. Like I'm going to be there. I'm going to be all in for them, because that's still 3 lives or 2 lives or 1 life or however many lives that I'm having the gift of being able to impact. So again, this is one of those things where we can look to social media and we see all these people with these huge group programs, which is amazing. And I'm celebrating them for that because I think it's incredible. But also just remembering that they didn't get there overnight, firstly. So we shouldn't compare ourselves to where they are on their journey. But also there's so much beauty in being able to have those smaller groups as well and cherishing that while we have that. Because yes, we'll get to the point where we have hundreds of people in our group programs as well. And it's just like being able to have this time with the smaller groups can be really beautiful for really building out that program and being able to really be deep in it and in touch with it and in touch with the people and really know how they're receiving it, anything that needs improving or any feedback. Like it's a really beautiful time to create a really solid program and solid foundations that then can be scaled to bigger groups. So just again, wanting to relieve any of that pressure for anyone who is going down the group program pathway and finding they're not getting a huge response, know that that is okay. And that every single person we get to touch is so amazing. So like such a gift to be able to touch their lives and support them on their health journey. So that was Habitually Healthy, and I ran the 2 rounds of that and loved that. And then I changed directions slightly. So I was loving teaching Habitually Healthy and the content within that, but I was doing a lot of my own personal development and inner work and kind of going layers and layers deeper within myself. And I started to bring in more of the emotional health piece of the puzzle. So for me, I have what's called an embodied health model, which is all about really embodying health, not just doing the things we need to do to be healthy, but actually feeling healthy and identifying as a healthy person. And really like it's what we live and breathe. So this embodied health model has 3 different layers. There's the physical health, which is those healthy habits and those things that we do on the physical level for our health. Then there's the mental health side of things, which is more of that mindset, the beliefs, working with our subconscious mind and all of that kind of layer, which is a huge layer and such an important one. And then underneath that is the emotional health. So this is really just learning to get in touch with ourselves, get in touch with our emotions, really deepening in our self-awareness, understanding our own patterns, conditioning, the way we work, and really healing our relationship to our emotions and actually being able to feel them, express them, move them through us. Because this is a real game changer. When we're holding on to a whole lot of stuff and storing a whole lot of stuff, I found that I was able to help people with the physical level side of things, and they were doing the things they needed to do, or they were finding it really hard to do the things they needed to do because they were coming up against so much resistance or procrastination or like other protective strategies that we have, because often they're distracting us from underlying emotions or stored things within our body. So this is a whole conversation in itself, and I'm not going to go deep into that. But as I continued to deepen my journey into personal development, and as I started working with more coaches and doing more of the embodiment work, I really saw that there was another layer. So I was going to relaunch Habitually Healthy late last year, but then it kind of changed. It changed into what is now called Radiance, which is my current group program that I run, and it's a 12-week program. So I'm loving the 12-week program format, and I'll talk more about the style of that as well. And the reason I'm giving so much detail about what I'm offering and the ways that I'm offering is to show you what's possible in this industry and the different things we can do. Because when we think of nutrition or naturopathy or any of the natural health professionals, we often think of that one-on-one side of it and that clinical element, which is amazing. But there's also many other things we can do based on what we desire and what helps us feel fulfilled. Because for me, the definition of success is fulfillment, and really feeling fulfilled and knowing that I'm having a positive impact on people's lives and really being able to help people. So what I chase when it comes to things I do in my career is that fulfillment. It's like, is this something that really fulfills me? And I find for me, the group programs feel so fulfilling. The one-on-one also feels so fulfilling. And I have elements of that too. And I'll speak to that in a moment. But yeah, it's cool to see all the different things that we can do. So with Radiance, it's another 12-week program, slightly different in structure. This one is, again, it's got a training video and a coaching call every week, but the training is recorded. So I upload the training on a Sunday morning for people to watch. And then they've got a workbook with exercises and activities. And because Radiance is all about embodiment and actually implementing what they're learning and making it a part of who they are, a big part of the program is the actual application as opposed to just the training and just the learning, because we are privy to so much information online these days. You can Google everything and find anything you could possibly want. There's so many amazing programs, courses, videos, podcasts, books. There's so much information out there, and I love it. I'm here for it as like an absolute nerd that loves to learn. I love having access to all of this knowledge, but I was also noticing a disconnect in the amount of knowledge we're taking in as opposed to how much we're actually implementing and how much we're actually embodying. So with Radiance, I really wanted to pare it back and be like, we're focusing on one core topic that's super important, and we're just going to go deep on that one topic for the week. And in order to really embody it, there's lots of like activities and exercises that I give people to do. So really helping them deepen that understanding through doing and embodying and making it a part of their identity. And identity is a huge part of behavior change, which is why Radiance is so successful and why the way that I teach and my style is supportive for people, because it's working on those subconscious layers and it's working on that identity level, which can be a real game changer. So that is Radiance's structure. It's got the training that I release once a week, and then there's the workbook that they go away and they do their activities and exercises, and then there's a group coaching call every week. And that is a combination between the group coaching and hot seat coaching, and then also things like we might do actual healing activities within the call. So we might do a breath work, we might do various guided meditations or visualizations or things that are really going to support them on deep layers, depending on what the topic is that week as well. So that's the structure of that 12-week group program. And again, this one's a small group one. So I do this small group on purpose because I really want to work deeply with everyone to make sure they're implementing. So that's not something that I'll scale. I'll have other offers that I have more as like a scalability kind of thing where I can have more people in there and it's less hands-on, but this one's like a really close proximity. So there is also an element of the one-on-one coaching in Radiance currently. They get 3 one-on-one calls with me and their coaching calls where we dive deep on what's coming up for them and give them personalized advice in those calls. But most of it is the group format, but because it's generally a small group. The last round I ran, I had 5 people in there, and it was the perfect size because in our coaching calls, everyone could have the attention, everyone could have time and space to share, to process, to go through the things that we were going through that week. So that's the structure of that one for me. And I run that a couple of times a year. And then what else have I got going in my business? So I've talked about a lot of different things. I'm just going to kind of summarize this as what I had and what I have. So currently what's available on my website is my smoothie ebook is still there sitting in the background. Then I've got the Real Food Way, which I'll speak more to. I think I already spoke more to that actually. It's the 21-day program with daily trainings, all about what to eat, how to eat, like actually creating healthy eating habits and knowing the foundations of real food nutrition. So there's that one. And that one is one that I can scale. That's a self-paced one. So people can just sign up for that anytime. And that's like an evergreen program that I have. And I'll probably run live rounds throughout the year, but it'll be one of those things that's like, it's just there. People can sign up anytime. It's so packed full of value that I just know that it's like amazing as it is. And if I do live rounds or bonus things on top of that, that's just value add. That's just to increase the interest and help people know that it's there as well. Because obviously we have to talk about our things so people know that it's there. They're not always just going to stumble across it. It's great when they do, but it's also great to educate them as to why your products or your services are so beneficial. And that's part of the importance of marketing and sales. So we've got Real Food Way, one of my core offerings, and then Radiance is my other core offering. So that's my 12-week group program that I run a couple of times a year. And that's the small group, close proximity kind of style. So they're the key things. Then I also have a physical product, which is my magnetic fridge planner. So that is basically a meal planner and a habit tracker that gets stuck on your fridge. It's a magnet and you can write on it with a whiteboard marker. And the whole process of creating my product was a lot of fun. I had a designer involved in the design of it and making it look really beautiful because I had an idea of what I wanted to be on there. And then I used my designer to help me bring that to life. And that was really beautiful. It was, it still is, I speak of it in past tense. It still is, it's still there. It still sells in the background. And it's not something I talk about much. I should probably talk about it more so more people can benefit from it. But that's one of those other things that I've created. So I love how for me in my business has been a mix of products, services, offerings, different range of things. So people have different options. And like I said earlier in the episode, it's not all come about overnight. Like make sure you're building up. You don't have to expect a huge product suite or lots of different things. And even mine, I've been in business for many years, but I still have quite a simplified product suite at the moment. So there's my essentially 2 core offerings, and then like 2 little bonuses. So the core ones are the Real Food Way for all the food and nutrition stuff, and then Radiance for that deeper level of like emotional health, mental health, mindset work, and lots of like the personal development stuff, going real deep into getting to know ourselves and healing our relationship to ourselves, healing our relationship to our body, and healing our relationship with food, which ripples up into the physical health layer and really supports people in creating those healthy habits because they're getting rid of a lot of the patterns or conditioning or resistance or blocks that might have been in the way beforehand. So they're my 2 core offerings. And then I've got the little add-ons. So like my smoothie ebook and my magnetic health planner are also there. I'm trying to think if there's been anything else along the way that I've done. I also offer one-on-one coaching to people. So going deep on the mindset generally. I don't do as much of just like the clinical nutrition because I find there's so many other amazing people out there doing that. And that's not where my heart lies. I love giving general nutrition advice and support and being able to help with generalized stuff. But if someone actually had a condition that they wanted support with, I would refer them to someone that specializes in that area because I very much love that holistic picture. And I love being able to be like, cool, if you want general nutrition support, I'm here for it. Yep. Either one-on-one or through the Real Food Way. But it's often the mindset stuff that I get really excited about and really supporting people in changing their behavior, creating those healthy habits, working through a lot of the emotional health side of things as well, something I'm super passionate about at the moment. So it's like that deeper embodiment coaching, if I had to summarize it as anything. But also obviously has elements of mindset coaching, elements of health coaching and nutrition. So it's kind of like a mixed bag. So I do still offer some one-on-one coaching packages, but my focuses are predominantly my like Real Food Whey program and Radiance program, which I love to do. And then at various times, I've also done different freelance work. So I've done freelance work for Goodness Me. I've done freelance work. I actually do some freelance work for my partner, supporting him with the behind the scenes and probably more of like the VA tasks. So like marketing, website creation, development, all that kind of stuff, helping him with his organization and just all the behind the scenes of business. So I do some freelance work for him. I've got a couple of other little projects. I've done different work with brands to create content for them. So recipe development, meal plans, writing blog posts, supporting with social media, all of that kind of stuff. There's been different things along the way. And essentially, like, that's kind of a summary of where my business is at. Like, I've got my offerings, my group programs that I love to run and offer, and my one-on-one element as well. And then I also do like freelance things as they come up. I love to speak. I've run health retreats, and my health retreat is actually something I probably should mention because I'm going to do a whole episode on my urban health retreat that I ran earlier this year. But that's something that I'm going to incorporate into my business as a regular kind of occurrence. So it's something I do a couple of times a year, maybe. So I'll probably do one later this year. And that's kind of taking a lot of the content from Habitually Healthy, where it comes to the core healthy habits and what to do, how to do it, really working on that mindset side of things and that behavior change and habit creation side of things. I've actually put that into the health retreat because part of me still wanted to keep Habitually Healthy running, and maybe one day I'll bring Habitually Healthy back, but I also really love the condensed version of doing it as a health retreat, or just running health retreats in general is so much fun. So that's another part of my business, running like in-person events and speaking and workshops and things like that, which I'm sure will fluctuate over time. Sometimes I'll have more speaking gigs or more workshops that I run. Sometimes it's less. I might run different types of retreats, but that's kind of like another branch of my business, the event space and in-person kind of stuff, which I also love. So that's essentially like a summary of Project Nourish and where it's currently at. There's other little things that I do or collaborate with people with. I created a Healthy Skin from Within program with one of my besties, Jacinta, who's another incredible nutritionist. She is the face behind Orenda Women's Health. So we've done episodes before. Episode number 2 is with her, and there's another update coming with her. So you can hear more about our program and more about all the epic things she's doing in her multimodality clinic that she's created online. But yeah, we collaborated on a acne program. So it was helping people have healthy skin from within. So where the name came from. And I did the meal plan side of that, 6 weeks of acne friendly meals and really like skin nourishing meals. And she did the 6 weeks worth of educational content. So yeah, there's been other little projects like that and other cool things like that. But essentially, that's kind of like my career summary, where I'm at. I love the freedom and flexibility having the group programs gives me. And that's why I am now able to bring Nutrition Grad Guide back and be able to bring in more of my business coaching and mentorship and mindset coaching for fellow nutritionists and natural health professionals. So having the space for that is awesome. And I'm loving getting back into that as well. I also have my other podcast, The Shahna Show. Yes, I have 2 podcasts now. So that one's more health and personal development focused. And then this one is obviously nutrition career or natural health career. It's not specific to just nutritionists, but natural health career, different pathways we can go down. You guys know the drill if you're here listening, like so much goodness when it comes to the business and career side of things. And then the other one is like health and personal development, mindset, all of that kind of stuff. So I was going to combine them at one stage, but I decided I wanted to keep them separate because they are kind of their own entities and their own things. But yeah, so now I run 2 podcasts and I do a lot of other fun, random ad hoc things. But I hope having this insight into my career and where I'm currently at, and I'm sure this will continue to change and evolve. So there'll be future career updates episodes from me as well. But I hope this gives you an insight into what a business can look like, some different offerings you can have, some different services you can provide, some different ways of approaching business, and also help you just see that there's no one size fits all and that everyone is on their own journey, and the importance of just like being okay with where you are, being grateful for where you are, and still continuing to work to where you want to be. But just knowing wherever you are on your journey is perfect, and you will absolutely get there with that consistency, with that trust, with that faith, with that relationship building. It will happen over time. So thank you so much for tuning in. And I look forward to doing another episode soon about the health retreat specifically, because there's so much behind the scenes of that I can share with you for anyone else who's interested in running health retreats. So that'll be a separate episode. And the guest episodes are coming back very soon. So really excited to be bringing more knowledge and insight and inspiration from fellow nutritionists and natural health professionals. Thank you so much for being here. If you've enjoyed this episode, please feel free to leave me a review or reach out and let me know what you thought. I love hearing from you guys. So big love to you, and I'll speak to you soon.